Hi folks, as you can see, beautiful day out here in the UK at the moment. Perfect flying opportunity, which is great because DJI have just released the version 1.4.0 update for the DJI Fly app. So I do want to get a bit of a stability test going here to make sure that there's nothing untoward with this particular update, so that you guys can hopefully have a little bit more confidence with getting this installed yourself. So I will be using the DJI Mini 2 as always, of course, but this update will also bring the Air 2S into compatibility, which was also just released today, which is DJI's latest consumer drone. But I'm just going to go ahead and get set up here and we'll get the flight underway. Right, so despite what I just said, we have just got a bit of a cloud coming on overhead and it's gone a little bit gusty, so apologies if that comes through the microphone at all. But here we go, we've got the DJI Fly app open with that 1.4.0 update installed. I am using an iPhone here, iPhone 12, but the update is of course also available for Android as well. So, looks like everything's getting set up by itself automatically, even though I've done this update. Sometimes the update, once you do an update for the Fly app, it can mess things up a little bit. So we will have a look at our settings. Now, I haven't actually flown the Mini 2 for about 3 weeks, so it has been in storage for that time. I'm sure that won't affect anything, but I'm just going to mention that anyway. Right, I can see that we've got full connection, which is good. About 17 satellites. And if we just go ahead and open our settings here, max altitude 120 meters, return to home 50. Yeah, these are all my previous settings. I'm just going to boost that up just a little bit, maybe 64 meters. I had it quite low because a little bit windy during my last flight, if I remember. And the main feature of the update actually isn't available for the Mini 2, unfortunately, so hopefully that will come a little bit later on. But there might be some other changes. Let's just go ahead and get the drone into the air, shall we, to start with. It's looking, I could be wrong, but it's looking like there has been an update to the interface. If you look at the bottom right here, I don't remember it looking like that before, where it says resolution and FPS, frames per second. Just going to go ahead. Yeah, this has definitely changed. So this used to be on a kind of vertical roller, if I remember. Now it's horizontal, and it looks like we can change the resolution independent of the FPS. It doesn't seem that any new settings have been added here. This is just a change of design in the interface itself. But let's go ahead and get the Mini 2 into the air, and we'll gain a little bit of distance. So yeah, just make sure we've got our home point, which we have. Gain a little bit of height here. Just hide that off the screen now. I'm happy at 4K 30 and we'll start recording. And we'll just continue to gain some height. We're at 20 meters right now. A little bit of distance. Just drop that gimbal down a touch. Okay, I'll stay at about 45 meters. As we send that drone over the woodland area. And away it goes. So far, the flight seems as we would expect, especially since, as I say, I have had the drone in storage for the last 3 weeks. I did see an interesting video, I think it was by Ian in London recently, which suggested that for the DJI Mini 2, you mustn't keep your batteries when the drone is being stored. You mustn't keep the batteries either in the drone or in the charger. But I have been doing that, and so far everything seems all right. Apparently, you need the batteries to discharge a little bit when they're being stored. Otherwise, it can cause damage to them, the longevity of them. And there seems to be a bug or something with the charger that stops that from happening. It stops them from discharging to about 75%, which is what you need. However, I checked this morning before flying, and all 3 of my batteries had actually discharged correctly. So maybe this is an issue that only affects some people. Now, I'm not going to disagree with Ian in London. You know, I wouldn't keep your batteries in the charger if that's what he's recommending. I'm just saying that for me, it didn't seem to cause an issue. Okay, so let's carry on, get a little bit more distance here. And yeah, such a beautiful day today. Just a little bit gusty now though. But we are out in the open, so can't complain about that. Yeah, all I'm really doing is checking out for flight stability. And it's all looking good. I'm just checking that the horizon is straight, and it seems to be to my weak eye here anyhow. I only say that because on one of the previous updates, the horizon was slightly angled, but it was fixed, I think, with 1.3.0 or 1.3.1. So I do just like to check that some of these issues that I've had before with other updates have not yet been brought back, although that could have been a firmware issue rather than an app issue, to be honest with you, an issue with the drone's firmware. But yeah, let's just take a nice cinematic look here, a nice slow moving shot of the landscape. Oh, it's gone a little bit chilly now, actually. Getting cold hands. Yeah, no, that's good. I've already ordered my Air 2S, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys will be getting that particular drone. You know, I was going to get an Air 2 last year before I purchased the Mini 2, and I decided against it, mainly because, first of all, because it was going to be my first drone. I didn't really want to spend the extra money on the Air 2, and also because of the extra regulations that would have come along with it. So the Mini 2 is the perfect first droner's choice, in my opinion, and it's the perfect drone for many other uses as well, not just for first-time drone users or drone pilots such as myself. But now that, you know, I've gained a little bit of familiarity in the world of drones, I've decided that I do want to get a slightly larger model, and the Air 2S has just come out at the perfect time. So, but I'm more than willing to make videos for you guys as well, of course, if there's an audience for that. I don't know if there would be around this channel because it seems to be focused more on the Mini 2 side of things. A lot of people have told me that that's the content they enjoy, and I certainly don't intend to start making such content. Like I say, the Mini 2 is a great drone, and I will certainly be keeping you guys updated as we go on with the Mini 2. And we're just pushing up to that 500-meter limit there. One thing, I call it a limit because that's generally considered to be the visual line of sight maximum point of reference here in the UK. That is one of the regulations in the UK, that you need to keep your drone in visual line of sight. And even though it's a nice clear day today, 500 meters is still pretty much the limit. And I'm not using any of my Cree strobe lights, which I could do, but I don't feel the need to for today's test. Now, yeah, I noticed the compass had gone very small there. I don't think I've seen it do that before, so I've just brought it back up to its normal size here. Maybe that's a feature of the update, that it just hides that thing. I don't know why it would want to do that. I personally like to keep that compass available in view on the screen at all times, as it's just an additional visual aid. So I'm just going to go ahead now and start bringing the drone back. As a matter of fact, one feature I do want to test. This is a feature that was made available in the previous update, I think 1.3.0. But that is, we can use the return to home functionality and actually still control the drone to some degree, so that we can get some nice cinematic shots. Now, it's very important, if you're going to use this feature, that you absolutely know with certainty that there's no obstacles in the way. Because if you're going to be angling the drone away from the direction that it's travelling in, of course, you're not going to be able to see those obstacles if they're present. So what I'm going to do is just double check here that there is no obstacles, and of course there isn't at this height. So I'm just going to change that return to home altitude down back to 53 metres, 52 metres. Has gone a bit chilly now. And we'll go ahead and return to home. Just make sure I click return to home and not land. That is not going to be a pretty thing to do at 460 metres away, is it? Okay, so now that we are returning to home, we can go ahead and, as you can see here, adjust the gimbal. We can adjust the the drone's, not attitude, but pivot, I guess, banking, so that we can see it from the side. We can get some really nice shots doing this. I'm going to be honest, I'm not the most cinematic person by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm sure you guys will think of some really creative uses of this feature, so that the drone is doing the moving for you, and then you just have full control over its orientation to get the shots that you want. It's a really cool little thing, and it's just above me now. So as it comes into land, seems I can no longer adjust that. Oh no, I can turn it again. Now for a moment I couldn't turn it, but now I can again. So yeah, it's still doing the automatic return to home there. will it land back on the table that we took off from? See how accurate it can be. It does, of course, use the GPS lock from the satellites it's connected to, so it's never going to be 100% accurate. But it's doing a good job. It's doing a good job. Here it comes. Looks like it's slightly off. But very, very close, actually. Very, very close, I've got to say. There it is, look. Okay, unsuitable for landing. It got itself back home, which is the main thing, isn't it? So we can land it ourselves now. Brilliant. All right then, so overall flight stability is pretty nifty, I've got to say. It's no better, but certainly no worse than it has been before. And I'm very happy with this new update. It hasn't done any damage to the drone, which is of course the important thing. From what I've seen so far, now that I've done this particular stability test over the woodland area where there's very little danger of actually crashing into anybody, now that I'm happy that the app is working at least as it should be, perhaps next time we can do an OcuSync test with 1.4.0 over the more urban environments. Now, of course, the app update itself shouldn't affect the OcuSync because that's just the technology that's built into the drone. But, you know, there have been issues before with previous versions of the app closing and just crashing altogether, especially in such high congestion areas. So maybe we can just check that out in the next video. But anyway, guys, are you going to download and install 1.4.0? And if you do, please let us know how you get on. If you have any problems, share those down in the comments section. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks for sharing your time with me today. And until next time, happy flying. Bye, everybody.